Saturday night, it's going to be replayed on USA Network. Friday night, the red carpet starts at 6 o'clock. Ceremony at 7, runs for about...
Jeff Jarrett's exit from WWE wasn't just controversial, it was full-on chaos. The headlines were buzzing with talk of alleged extortion, and fans couldn't believe what they were hearing. And that was only the beginning. This wasn't the first time Jeff found himself in the middle of some serious drama. There were well-known struggles with alcohol, a sudden break from the spotlight, and of course, the messy situation involving his relationship with Karen Angle. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. Let's get into it. All right, so let's rewind back to 1999. That's when one of the most talked about exits in WWE history went down. Jeff Jarrett was set to defend his Intercontinental Championship against China at the No Mercy pay-per-view. But here's the twist. Jarrett's WWE contract had already expired. Technically, he wasn't even under contract anymore when that match was scheduled. So what did he do? According to reports, Jarrett told Vince McMahon that he wouldn't wrestle unless he was paid a large sum of money. Rumors say it was somewhere around $300,000. Now, depending on who you ask, this moment was either a bold business move or just plain shady. Some people believe Jarrett was simply asking for money he felt was already owed to him for past appearances. Others saw it as borderline extortion, holding a title match hostage for a payday. Either way, it became a huge story, and it added a big, messy chapter to his relationship with WWE. But if you think that was the height of the drama, think again. Fast forward a few years, and Jarrett found himself in the middle of another major controversy. This time, it was personal. His relationship with Karen Angle, the ex-wife of wrestling star Kurt Angle, sent shockwaves through the wrestling world. It wasn't just gossip behind the scenes either. The whole situation played out in front of the cameras on TNA television, turning real-life tension into a televised storyline. It made things even messier backstage and sparked real issues between Jarrett and Kurt. As if all that wasn't enough, there was another battle going on behind the scenes, one that had nothing to do with wrestling storylines. Jarrett has been open about his struggles with alcohol over the years. By 2017, after the merger of Global Force Wrestling with Impact Wrestling, things had reached a breaking point. Jarrett stepped away from the spotlight and took a much-needed hiatus to focus on his health. He later spoke honestly about how deeply his addiction had affected both his personal life and his career. So what's the silver lining in all of this? It's Jeff Jarrett's career. For all the drama and setbacks, his journey through the wrestling world has been nothing short of impressive. And to really understand just how much he's achieved, we're going to take a closer look. Get ready to see the success story behind all the chaos. Let's dive in. Let's go back to where it all began. Jeff Jarrett made his in-ring debut on April 6, 1986, when he was just 18 years old. It happened in the Continental Wrestling Association, the same place where he had been working as a referee. One night, as part of a storyline, a wrestler named Tony Falk challenged young Jarrett to a match. Falk had been on a losing streak, so he figured he could take the rookie. The match ended in a 10-minute time limit draw, and just like that, Jarrett was officially in the game. He was trained by his father, Jerry Jarrett, and veteran wrestler Tojo Yamamoto. Throughout the late 80s, Jeff wrestled for several regional promotions, including the AWA and CWF. In 1989, things shifted when Jerry Jarrett bought World Class Championship Wrestling and merged it with the CWA, creating the USWA. Jeff became one of the top stars there. He won the Southern Heavyweight Championship 10 times and grabbed the World Tag Team titles 15 times with different partners. The kid from Memphis was becoming a real name. As he rose in the US, Jarrett also took his talents overseas. In 1990, he went to Japan with the Super World of Sports promotion and even wrestled in Puerto Rico for the World Wrestling Council. His global exposure was growing, and soon the big leagues came calling. Jarrett made his first appearance in the WWF on August 9, 1992, at a live show in Memphis. He sat ringside with Jerry Lawler and issued an open challenge to the WWF locker room. That night, he faced Kamala and won by disqualification. Bret Hart accepted a follow-up challenge, but their match got canceled due to bad weather. After a few more untelevised matches, Jarrett fully returned to the USWA, but it wasn't long before WWF brought him back. In October 1993, he officially debuted as Double J Jeff Jarrett, a flashy country singer character who used wrestling to promote his music career. With a glowing Double J hat, wild outfits, and the catchphrase, "Ain't I great?" Jarrett quickly became one of the most annoying heels on TV. He even smashed guitars over opponents' heads, his signature move with the guitar he called El Kabong. He had his first televised WWF match in December 1993, beating PJ Walker on Raw. In January 1994, he entered the Royal Rumble and got tossed out by Randy Savage in under 90 seconds. He also helped shove The Undertaker into a casket, starting a wild storyline. Jarrett was originally set to wrestle at WrestleMania 10, but ended up doing the match later on Raw instead. That year, he had frequent matches with Doink and had a small run in the King of the Ring tournament, beating Lex Luger by countout, but losing to the 1-2-3 Kid. By 1995, Jarrett was going after Razor Ramon in the Intercontinental Championship. At the Royal Rumble, with help from the roadie, he beat Razor and claimed the title. He had short reigns, lost and won it back a couple of times, and even tried to become WWF champion by challenging Diesel, though he came up short. In July 1995, Jarrett performed With My Baby Tonight live at In Your House 2, then lost his title to Shawn Michaels later that night. After that, he took a break, returned in late 1995 to feud with Ahmed Johnson, and left again in early 1996 over a contract issue. To top it all off, the roadie later revealed that he was the real voice behind Jarrett's song, exposing that Double J had been lip-syncing the whole time. After leaving the WWF in early 1996, Jeff Jarrett headed back to his old stomping grounds, the United States Wrestling Association in Memphis. It didn't take long for him to make waves again. On April 20th, he beat Jerry Lawler to win the USWA Unified World Heavyweight Championship for the third time. The two traded the title that summer, with Lawler eventually getting it back. Jarrett stuck around until August, but by the end of 1997, USWA had shut down for good. In October 1996, Jarrett signed with WCW. Right away, he found himself in the middle of the company's biggest war, the Four Horsemen versus the New World Order. Playing the role of a free agent, Jarrett picked up shady wins over Chris Benoit and Steve McMichael, leading to a reluctant invite into the Four Horsemen. But things didn't last long. In June 1997, he won the WCW United States Championship by beating Dean Malenko. Not long after, he was kicked out of the Horsemen and started feuding with McMichael, who later took the U.S. title from him in August. When his contract ended in October, Jarrett made a surprise decision. He left WCW and returned to the WWF, even though WCW was dominating in the ratings. Jarrett came back to the WWF in October 1997 with a fiery promo, calling out both Eric Bischoff and Vince McMahon. He briefly clashed with The Undertaker and soon won the vacant NWA North American title by beating Barry Windham. He then joined Jim Cornette's group of invading NWA wrestlers. But by March 1998, Jarrett left the group, got stripped of the title, and switched things up again. He revived his country singer gimmick and introduced Tennessee Lee as his manager. They even performed with Sawyer Brown at Unforgiven that April. By summer, Jarrett added a new edge to his look with a goatee and brought in Southern Justice as bodyguards. After weeks of losses, he fired Tennessee Lee in August. A feud with D-Generation X followed, and at SummerSlam, Jarrett lost a hair versus hair match to X-Pac. DX shaved his head, returning the favor after Jarrett and Southern Justice had earlier shaved Howard Finkel bald. The feud ended at Breakdown in September, and the group went their separate ways. After a quick feud with Al Snow, Jarrett reunited with Deborah and teamed up with his close friend Owen Hart. The two won the WWF Tag Team titles and defended them at WrestleMania 15, but later lost to Kane and X-Pac. Just days after Owen's tragic passing at Over the Edge, Jarrett beat the Godfather for the Intercontinental title and paid tribute to Owen in the ring. Jarrett continued making noise in mid-1999, swapping the Intercontinental title with Edge and D'Lo Brown, and eventually becoming the record holder for most reigns at the time. At SummerSlam, he beat Brown for both the Intercontinental and European titles, becoming the second ever Eurocontinental champion. He rewarded Deborah and Mark Henry for helping him win, but soon turned on them, shifting focus to a feud with China. Jarrett's character became aggressively sexist, attacking women and insulting China's place in wrestling. Just before his contract ended in October 1999, Jarrett wrestled China at No Mercy, dropping the Intercontinental title in what would be his final WWF match. He returned to WCW days later, declared himself the Chosen One, and joined a new version of the NWO alongside Bret Hart, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. Jarrett picked up the US title, clashed with veterans like Terry Funk, and feuded with Sid Vicious for the WCW World title. But after Bret's retirement, NWO 2000 collapsed, and once again, Jarrett was left to chart a new path. In April 2000, WCW hit the reset button. Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo took over, stripped every one of their titles, and introduced two new factions: the New Blood, featuring younger stars, and the Millionaires Club, made up of WCW veterans. Jeff Jarrett joined the New Blood and quickly won the vacant WCW World title by beating Diamond Dallas Page at Spring Stampede. But the belt didn't stay with him long. Page took it back just days later. Then, in one of wrestling's wildest moments, actor David Arquette pinned Eric Bischoff in a tag match to become champion, thanks to interference from Jarrett and a distracted Kimberly Page. At Slamboree, Arquette turned on DDP, helping Jarrett win back the title in a chaotic triple cage match. That started a roller coaster month for Jarrett, where he traded the world title with Ric Flair multiple times. Then came Bash at the Beach in July, where Jarrett shockingly laid down for Hulk Hogan in protest. Hogan pinned him and left with the belt, but Russo stormed out, blasted Hogan on the mic, and set up a second title match that night. Jarrett lost that one to Booker T. Hogan never returned. Jarrett kept feuding with top names like Booker T, Sting, and Flair. He also teamed up with the Harris brothers and Scott Steiner, eventually joining Ric Flair's group, the Magnificent Seven. But when WWF bought WCW in 2001, Jarrett wasn't picked up. On Raw, Vince McMahon even mocked him on live TV, saying Jarrett was Goone. With nowhere else to go, Jarrett hit the road with the WWA and eventually launched his own promotion in 2002, TNA, alongside his father. That move kicked off the next big chapter of his wrestling journey, and he made sure his name stayed right at the top. Then at Bound for Glory in October 2010, Jeff Jarrett shocked everyone by turning heel for the first time in years. Originally teaming with Samoa Joe and Hulk Hogan, Hogan had to pull out due to surgery, so Jarrett and Joe faced Sting, Nash, and D'Angelo De Niro in a tough handicap match. Jarrett ended up abandoning Joe mid-match, letting Nash pin him. Later that night, Jarrett revealed he was part of a new villainous group called Immortal, alongside Hogan, Eric Bischoff, Abyss, and Jeff Hardy. Jarrett said he joined Immortal to get back at TNA boss Dixie Carter, who stripped him of backstage power, and to go after Kurt Angle's career. This kicked off a brutal feud with Angle and Joe, featuring matches where Jarrett used dirty tactics and outside interference to win. The rivalry even led to a staged MMA-style fight between Jarrett and Angle. Eventually, Jarrett lost to Angle in their final showdown and was exiled to Mexico in the storyline. He kept busy wrestling in Mexico and working with AAA, winning their mega championship twice. Jarrett also launched his own promotion, Global Force Wrestling, and later returned to TNA and WWE in various roles, including backstage and creative positions, plus a Hall of Fame induction. That wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.